Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha, Radhanatha Radha, Radhanatha Radhe, Jaya Radha, Radhanatha Radha, Radhanatha Radhe, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from a wonderful book by Shruti Kirti Prabhu called What is the Difficulty? It's a recollection of his memories and pastimes with Srila Prabhupada during the time he was serving as a personal servant. So we'll start from pastime number 7, which is called I Still Want to Run Up the Stairs. June 14th, 1972, Los Angeles, California. One afternoon after Srila Prabhupada's walk, a group of 5 or 6 devotees stood in the downstairs hallway and watched as he walked upstairs using his cane. Jai Srila Prabhupada, we gratefully chanted. He turned towards us with an endearing and beautiful smile. I was just thinking, he said, when I was young, I would run up the stairs. Now that same desire is still there. I still want to run up the stairs, but due to this body, now I can't run. I still want to do all these things like when I was young. I want to be active, but the body is very limiting. He continued walking up the stairs as we paid our heartfelt obeisances. Srila Prabhupada had voluntarily accepted so many inconveniences to save us from this foolishly gross material conception of life. I witnessed the majesty of Prabhupada's Leela while personally serving him, but there were many painful periods as well. The fact that Srila Prabhupada experienced these discomforts will never diminish his greatness, but magnify it. This is the unlimited mercy of the pure devotee. Who can be this magnanimous? How wonderful in this pastime, Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing that even though the body is temporary and it continuously changes throughout our whole life, we as the spirit soul have an endless capacity to serve. And as long as we dedicate our life to Krishna, we will always be enthusiastic. So, part 2. Twice around the world in 481 days. September 7th, 1972 to December 31st, 1973. Pastime 8. This pastime is called My First Service, Wash This. September 7th, 1972, ISKCON New Vrindavan, West Virginia. On the eve of becoming Srila Prabhupada's personal servant. So I guess this is how Shruti Kirti Prabhu actually became Srila Prabhupada's servant. Srila Prabhupada had been in New Vrindavan for a week, and all I had seen was the inside of the Bahulaban kitchen. I was extremely envious of my god brothers and god sisters, who had been going up the hill to see Srila Prabhupada and hearing him speak every day. I was cooking for a few hundred devotees from 3:30 a.m. until 9 p.m. They all came to see Srila Prabhupada during the annual Janmashtami festival. And since I did not have time to chant my rounds, I was distressed. While visiting Los Angeles, I had grown attached to having Srila Prabhupada's personal association and reading Krishna book in his garden. Now my self-pity was mounting. At approximately 9 p.m., I was lamenting my misfortune when Kirtanananda Maharaj came into the kitchen with a huge smile on his face. Guess what, he said. You are going to be Prabhupada's personal servant. You'll be leaving tomorrow morning with him to go to Pittsburgh. I was speechless. It happened so quickly that I did not have time to think about it. I was feeling elated, nervous, and exhausted all at the same time. At 6 a.m., Kirtanananda Swami brought me to Madhuvan, which was a small one-story farmhouse where Srila Prabhupada was staying. I was still in a state of shock. We walked into the small sitting room and I offered my obeisances. "This is Shruti Kirti, Srila Prabhupada," Kirtanananda said. "He cooks very nicely." "That's very good," Srila Prabhupada said, smiling. "But he doesn't know how to massage," Kirtanananda continued. "That's all right," Srila Prabhupada said. "Anyone can massage. It's very easy." Then Srila Prabhupada picked up a lota on the floor by his desk and said in a deep voice, "Okay, come with me." We went out the back door of the farmhouse and walked to the edge of the pavement. He stopped there for a moment and turned to me. "All right, wait here," he instructed. Srila Prabhupada walked about another 50 feet into a wooded area. After a few minutes, he returned to the edge of the pavement where I stood according to his instructions. As he walked by me, he handed me the lota and said, "All right, wash this with some dirt and water." He then walked back into the farmhouse. It was wonderful how he dealt with me that morning. There was no chit-chat, no please or thank you. He immediately let me know that my position was to be his menial servant, assisting him in whatever he wanted and taking care of his bodily necessities. I was in complete bliss knowing what my service was. I had been given the most wonderful service of taking care of the transcendental body of the servitor of God. This was the first day of my life. For the first time, I could understand what my body and mind were meant for. Unfortunately, due to my youthful restlessness and inability to take sincerely to the process of Krishna consciousness, I lost my service after a few short years. Now, with great regret, I am begging the Supreme Lord Krishna to please give this fool another chance to serve my spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada, without you, I feel very lost and alone. I do not know what to do with myself. It is very painful. My beloved spiritual master, I regret having wasted so much time in sense gratification. Srila Prabhupada, my desire is to continue being your menial servant. I wish to be with you, cleaning your lota. I guess what we can take from this pastime is that whenever services arise, you just grab them. Don't think about it. Just jump at the opportunity to serve because we don't know what will happen the next day and where Krishna will take us. So whenever you have the opportunity, serve Krishna and serve Srila Prabhupada and the spiritual masters. Pastime 9. I just wanted to see how quick you are. September 8th, 1972, ISKCON, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This was my first full day as Srila Prabhupada's personal servant. My only training had been watching one massage that Sudama Maharaj had given Srila Prabhupada. When Srila Prabhupada rings the bell, go immediately to his room and ask how you can serve him, I was instructed. It was about 2 p.m. The bell rang. I nervously trotted into Srila Prabhupada's room and offered my obeisances. Sitting up, I asked, "What can I do, Srila Prabhupada?" He smiled and said, "Oh, nothing. I just wanted to see how quick you are." After successfully completing my first mission, I went back to my room and relaxed. For the first time in the last 24 hours, Srila Prabhupada was expertly putting me at ease with a sense of humor, gentleness, and kindness. It was the first time Srila Prabhupada rang his bell and called me into his room. Over the next 2 years, I walked into his room and offered obeisances thousands of times. From the first day, he let me know it was something that would always be exciting and rewarding. It did not matter whether I went in to take Prabhupada his lunch or to be chastised for being inattentive in my service. He always exhibited the qualities of a pure devotee and made me proud to be the servant of Krishna. And I guess this pastime shows that spiritual life is always exciting. You never know what is coming the next day, what Krishna has in store for you. And whether it's blissful or it's chastisement, it's exciting and rewarding all the same. And well, Srila Prabhupada was saying, oh, I was just seeing how quick you are. It reminded me of another pastime. I think Srila Prabhupada was speaking to one of his lady disciples, and he was saying that a first class, I think it was in India, and it was a time where the war was going on and there were bombings. So they had to put the lights out. Otherwise, the planes would see where the lights were and drop the bombs. So it would interfere with the evening programs. So the disciple, I think her name was Koshalya, she cut black paper and stuck it on the windows to black out so they could put the lights on and have their programs. And Prabhupada came in and he saw, and I said, oh, what's this? And she said, no, I blacked out all the walls so we can have our programs. And Prabhupada says, this is a first-class servant, that before the master tells you what to do, you anticipate the need and you do it. So we should be like that and anticipate what will Srila Prabhupada need to serve Krishna and help him in this way. Pastime 10. They are better that way if you can do it. September 11th, 1972, ISKCON, Dallas, Texas. Those last few days had been the most wonderful days I had experienced in Krishna consciousness, despite the fact that I did not know what I was doing. I had given Srila Prabhupada 3 massages, and after each one, his only comment was, "Thank you very much." On the previous day, he came into the kitchen and showed me how to prepare his lunch in the cooker. He made dal and vegetables using the same chants and showed me how to roll chapatis without a rolling pin. He said they are better that way if you can do it. He again cooked his own lunch for my benefit. He made 3 vegetables, dal and rice. I made the chapatis. He told me that in the mornings he desired a little fruit with milk and fruit in the late afternoon, nothing more. He stressed the fact that he only wants small portions on his plate. I learned so much in a few days, more than how to make chapatis without a rolling pin and how to spice. I was experiencing what life was like with a pure devotee of the Lord. Every moment was full of lessons. I could understand Lord Chaitanya's statement that by even a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can achieve all perfection. Every word he spoke and every movement made was in the service of his spiritual master. If one follows his example, one will become Krishna consciousness. One will become Krishna conscious. Something from this pastime is that we don't need qualification to do devotional service. Shruti Kirti Prabhu became the servant without knowing how to massage, without knowing how to make chapatis, without knowing a lot of things, but Srila Prabhupada accepted it anyway and taught him. So all he had was a very sincere desire. So if we approach the spiritual master with sincerity and enthusiasm, he will see this and he will nurture us in a way that helps us grow in bhakti. He will chastise us, yes, he will teach us, but ultimately he will take us to Krishna through his mercy and through our sincere desire. So even if we feel like we don't have the qualification to do something, if we feel that I'm not an expert in this, so I won't even try anyway, that's not the attitude of a devotee. The devotee is, I don't know, but I will try all my best and I will learn by the mercy of Krishna and the devotees. Pastime 11, Shruto. September 12, 1972, ISKCON, Dallas, Texas. Srila Prabhupada rang his bell to call me. I went into his sitting room and offered my obeisances. When I sat up, he smiled and said, "Shruti Kirti, your name is too long. I will call you Shruto." My affection for him increased immensely. Srila Prabhupada's personalizing my name was so endearing. Another night during our stay in Dallas, Srila Prabhupada stayed up until 11:30 p.m. enlivening us with discussions. I felt tired but unable to put myself away from such sweet talks. Srila Prabhupada, when we left Dallas, you never called me Shruto again. It did not matter what name you called me. My great fortune was that you were calling me to your room. In 1975, at Krishna Balaram Mandir, Tamal Krishna Maharaj told me one day, we would all be in the spiritual world and you would ring your bell and ask, "Where is Shruti Kirti?" I am longing for that day. Even in spiritual life, there's lightheartedness and humor. And sometimes we often forget that. We get caught up in the rules and regulations. But Krishna consciousness is meant to be happy and enlivening. It's meant to be blissful. It's anandam buddhivartanam. There's ever increasing joy and bliss. So it must be very light on the heart. We should smile and do service. Huh? Pastime 12. So I take a nap after lunch. September 12th, 1972, ISKCON Dallas, Texas. On different occasions, Srila Prabhupada spoke about sleep. When I first became his servant, he called me into his room after he had taken a short nap following lunch. This was at the Dallas temple when Srila Prabhupada visited the Gurukul facility. He asked me if I had taken rest after eating my lunch. I said no. This was not something that was done at that time. I am an old man, he said. I cannot sleep very long at one time, so I take a nap after lunch. I had been with Srila Prabhupada only a few days, but his humility had already captured my heart. On another occasion, when he was getting ready to take rest in the evening, he said to me, "Whenever I go to take rest, I think, now I am going to waste my time." Srila Prabhupada never wasted his time. I was only 20 years old when I was his servant, but I had a difficult time keeping up with him as he traveled around the world, enlivening his disciples. Srila Prabhupada was 75 years old then. Sometimes on his morning walks, his disciples would look at each other, shake their heads, and wonder when he was going to go back to the temple because they were getting tired of walking. Pastime 13. Everyone is a servant. September 19th, 1972. ISKCON Los Angeles, California, Srila Prabhupada's garden. One evening, while seated in his garden, Srila Prabhupada sat with his back very straight and his eyes widened. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, he chanted. This is our pride. We are servants to the most regal person, Krishna. Everyone is a servant, but our pride is that we are servants to Krishna. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. We sat at your feet with our eyes fixed on you, waiting for more words of nectar. You look at your young American disciple sitting before you and smiled. Then with a laugh you stated, "He may or may not be God. It doesn't matter. We love Krishna anyway." They were wonderful words and we loved to hear them. You could make the most profound statement seem simple and elegant. That is the value of a moment's association with you. If one is fortunate enough to understand these few words, they can become pure devotees of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, our pride is that we are followers of the dearest servant of Krishna. Who could ask for anything more? That's a nice meditation for greetings when we sing Govindam Adi Purusham, that I am proud to be a servant of Krishna. This is my pride and joy to worship the primeval Lord. I'll read one more pastime, and I think it'll be time for Aarti. Tell them to be quiet. Srila Prabhupada took great pleasure in hearing his disciples chant the Mahamantra, but sometimes he wanted them to do it elsewhere. The former temple room in New Dwarka, which now houses a museum, was beneath Srila Prabhupada's quarters. One afternoon, a male devotee was chanting japa very loudly in the temple room. Srila Prabhupada was resting, and so was Sri Sri Rukmini Dwarkadish. Srila Prabhupada did not even ring his bell to call me. He opened the door of his room and shouted down the hallway, "Tell that devotees that the deities are taking rest and he should be quiet. Tell him to be quiet." Srila Prabhupada was very humble. His primary concern was the welfare of the deities and teaching his disciples that Krishna is non-different from his deity form. He could have said that he was resting and did not want to be disturbed, but that was not the way he saw it. We should always, as far as possible, remember, even when we look at the deities and we may just see a form, of marble or something, but should always try and relate to Krishna as a person and think, well, I often try sometimes and think in relation to myself, even though that's like a lower state of consciousness. But I think, would I appreciate if this was being done to me? You know, if I was standing next to someone and talking really loudly, or just, you know, sometimes when we address the deities, we like just jab puns here and there, and like put this and that. And I think, would I appreciate it if this was done to me? And if I won't appreciate it, then I should not treat Krishna this way. I should like always really try and think that here's someone standing next to me, even though he's not saying anything to me. I don't have the ears or the eyes to see or hear Krishna, but that doesn't mean he's not seeing and he's not hearing what I'm saying. Okay, one more. The following is an excerpt from a letter I wrote to Kirtanananda Maharaj 3 weeks after leaving New Vrindavan and becoming Srila Prabhupada's personal servant. I am beginning to understand that anything in connection with Srila Prabhupada is truly nectarian. It is his causeless mercy that I finally found a preaching engagement I am really attached to. That is, telling other devotees about the glorious activities of our beloved spiritual master. Every word spoken and every step taken by him is a source of pleasure for thousands of disciples around the world. It is Prabhupada alone who can turn wretched lives into something worthwhile. He accepts the most insignificant service as a great deal. While engaged in talking about New Vrindavan during Prabhupada's massage yesterday, I mentioned how we had been doing arati to the cows. At that point, Prabhupada frowned. I asked if that was okay to do, and he said no. I asked if there was anything special to do for the cows. He said, keep them clean, brush them nicely, bathe them, and also you can polish their horns and hooves. Prabhupada also received your sandesh yesterday. I put 2 on his plate last night at his request, along with pineapple and hot milk. He bit into one and said, Kirtanananda Maharaj made first-class sandesh. He then said how sandesh and rasgulla are called Bengali sweets and how they are standard. He has been criticizing LA's making of concocted sweets with puffed rice, carob, powdered milk, food coloring, and peanut butter in different combinations that he did not care for. He said, I have given you sandesh, rasgulla, and sweet balls. These are standard sweets and are very good. Why do they do these different things? Consequently, last night I made cheese and turned it into sandesh this morning. I gave him one of the sandesh you had made and one I had made with his lunch. He ate both.